The package arrived on a Thursday. No return address, just one name written neatly across the front. Jason, the man I'd been having an affair with. Inside, there wasn't a letter. There wasn't a threat. There wasn't even a note. There was only a flash drive. A small label had been taped to it. In my husband's handwriting, watch the first 10 minutes. Jason looked at me. I looked back at him. Neither of us knew why my husband would send him our wedding video. By the time those 10 minutes were over, our relationship was already finished. My name is Lauren. My husband's name was David. The man I betrayed him with was Jason. David believed memories deserved to be preserved. He recorded everything: birthdays, vacations, family dinners, Christmas mornings. He even bought an old camcorder because he liked the way home videos looked on tape. I used to tease him. Nobody watches these anymore. He'd smile. Maybe not today. But someday we'll be glad we kept them. He was right. Just not in the way either of us imagined. Jason entered my life 14 years into my marriage. He managed the regional office our company worked with. Confident, funny, always available. It started with work lunches, then after-hours meetings, then hotel rooms. I convinced myself I wasn't hurting anyone, because I was lying to myself before I was lying to David. The affair lasted almost a year. When David discovered it, he never asked for details. He quietly packed a suitcase, looked at me, then said, "I hope one day you remember who we used to be." That was it. No shouting, no broken dishes, just grief. The divorce became final 8 months later. Jason and I stayed together. At least, we tried. Without secrecy, there wasn't much mystery left. We argued more, laughed less. Still, we stayed together because leaving would have meant admitting we'd destroyed 2 lives for something temporary. Almost 2 years passed. Then the package arrived. Jason held up the flash drive. "Did David send this?" I recognized the handwriting immediately. "Yes. What do you think is on it?" I already knew. Our wedding. Jason frowned. "Why would he send me that?" "I don't know." He plugged the drive into the television. The screen faded in. Our wedding day. The church, the flowers, my father walking me down the aisle. David waiting at the altar, smiling so hard it looked like his face hurt. Jason reached for the remote. Should I skip ahead? I noticed the label again. Watch the first 10 minutes. Just leave it. The ceremony began. The camera shifted to David. He looked terrified, excited, completely in love. Then the vows started, mine first. "David, you are my safest place." Jason shifted uncomfortably. "I promise to choose you, even when life becomes ordinary, even when we're tired, even when loving each other takes work." I couldn't breathe. I had forgotten those words. David hadn't. The video continued. I laughed through tears while placing the ring on his finger. He whispered something that only the microphone caught. "You look even more beautiful than I imagined." I'd forgotten that too. Jason muted the television. "I think that's enough." "No." I surprised myself by saying it. "He wanted us to watch." Jason slowly unmuted it. The pastor smiled. "You may kiss your bride." David kissed me like he'd waited his whole life for that moment. The guests applauded. The camera followed us outside. Rice, laughter, family photographs. Then, something happened neither of us expected. The videographer interviewed guests. My grandmother, my parents, David's younger sister. Everyone answered the same question. What makes these two such a good match? One after another. They described us. They never stopped talking. They're best friends. They make ordinary days exciting. They're kinder together than apart. Jason quietly whispered, "I've never seen you like this." Neither had I. The woman smiling on that screen felt like a stranger. 10 minutes passed. The video stopped. The screen went black. Then one final recording appeared. It hadn't been filmed on our wedding day. David sat alone in what looked like our old living room. He looked older, more tired. He spoke directly into the camera. "Jason, if you're watching this, thank you for watching the first 10 minutes." Jason immediately froze. David continued, "I didn't send this to make you feel guilty. I sent it because I wanted you to meet the woman I married." He smiled sadly. "She's extraordinary. She laughs too loudly. She sings while folding laundry. She cries during animated movies. She dances when she thinks nobody's watching." I started crying before he finished. Somewhere along the way, she stopped being that person. His eyes stayed on the camera. "If she's still in there, I hope you help her find her way back." Another pause. "But if you only know the version of her that lies, then you never really knew my wife." The screen faded to black. Neither of us spoke. For a long time, finally, Jason whispered, "I don't think—" He made this for me. I wiped away tears. "No, he made it for me." Another silence. Jason leaned back on the couch. "I spent 2 years trying to understand why you always looked sad." He looked at the blank television. "Now I know." Weeks later, Jason ended our relationship, not because of the video alone, because the woman he'd fallen for was already disappearing before we met. Months passed. One afternoon, I called David. "I watched the video." "I know." "You knew I would?" "I hoped." I swallowed hard. "Why did you send it?" David took a long breath. "Because I realized you'd spent years remembering our marriage by how it ended. I wanted you to remember how it began." Those words stayed with me. Years have passed since that afternoon. David remarried. Happily. Jason eventually married too. As for me, I kept the flash drive. Not because I watch it often, but because every now and then, I need to remember something. People think marriages end the day someone has an affair. Sometimes they do, but more often, they begin ending much earlier. In missed conversations, unspoken loneliness, assumptions, silence. Sometimes people ask whether my husband ever got revenge. I tell them he didn't. He simply gave my affair partner our wedding video. Because no argument, no accusation, and no courtroom could ever remind me who I'd become. Better than watching the woman I used to be promise forever, and truly mean every word.